Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London, and this morning I'm looking at an excellent special report which has come to us from Globe Law and Business. Now, the review is basically taking part of the special report out and explaining what's in it, because the book is Smart Collaboration for In-House Legal Teams, and it's a special report written by our old friend Dr Heidi Gardner. Heidi's produced a very useful, very detailed book, always up to her high standards. I've given the title for the review the following: an excellent new report for in-house lawyers, because that's really what we've got with Heidi's book. Let's have a little look at it here. It's from the Centre of Legal Leadership as well as the Globe Law Business. There's the front, there's nothing on the spine, and then on the back there's some blurb which I've taken for the review. It's not a long book. There's a bit of detail about Globe at the back, just so that you can have a look. Then you've got detail about Heidi and who she is and what she's been up to recently, from Harvard, of course. Then you've got quite a substantial number of notes. Heidi's very meticulous with her detail, some nice graphs. And then if we go to the tables and so forth, we go to the front, you can see the front page there. Then you can see the blurb about, this is the blurb about Globe and what they're up to at the moment. Then the table of contents, setting out really the four vectors, which I'm going to talk about. What Heidi has got are the four vectors. Basically, they're the four areas that you want to consider. You can see then the various parts. So there's tables and introduction, then it's structured into various parts as we run through. A total number of, in terms of chapters, 5 chapters, but it's looking about, for instance, chapter 4. Chapter, which one is it? Actually, it's chapter, it's subchapter 6 of part 6, and it's looking at smart collaboration with external stakeholders. So it's looking at quite a substantial area. Then, of course, what you've got is the introduction, because it's looking at in-house legal teams and how they can work in the corporate, private entities, government or non-profit making organisations. Then you've got a various, again, more charts, various things for the vectors. Now I'm going to come on to that, because I think that's the area where there may be most interest and perhaps a little bit of confusion with the 4 areas. So we're going to talk about that. You can see the benefits of what is called cross-domain collaboration, in other words, talking to each other. I don't want to be too cynical or rude about any of this, but the point is that it's the words that are used have probably the same meanings to us, but sometimes they use slightly different words, but which still mean basically the same thing, because basically we're talking about, when it talks about smart collaboration for in-house legal teams, it means people talking to each other. Collaboration means agreeing and getting on and sorting things out. So what do we get here then? It's a special report in the series from Globe, and Heidi basically sums up the report in these words: in-house legal teams are under more pressure than ever to add value to their organisations. That, of course, means talking to each other. Whether it's, again, you've got a classic example in government of one government department perhaps not talking the way it should do to another government department, and so forth. And of course, I mean, you can use up the words joined up. That's another word that can be used, but it's basically trying to get people to talk to each other, and it's especially important in bigger organisations. I mean, obviously, because I'm a sole practitioner, it's not particularly relevant to people like myself, but certainly in the big organisations it is. And of course, because of the book, it's why the series of special reports from Globe are so useful to us in the 2020s. Because as professional lawyers, this information does help us think, perhaps stand back a bit and think about what we might be doing with our business. So we welcome the report, which combines the rigour of Harvard research, if I can put it that way, Heidi, with a pragmatic focus based on input from hundreds of general counsel, from in-house lawyers, CEOs and board members, to show why and how legal teams work across silos what we call smart collaboration. As I said, there are other words to use it, but you see what I'm moving to. And of course, what the report does, it includes the business case, practical tips, case studies and tools to help legal teams master the 4 essential vectors of collaboration as Heidi sets them out here. And I'm going to talk about those because that's the heart of the book in my view. The first one is within legal, and that's the title. So it's the range of experts in in-house legal teams today, all bringing their own jargon, mindsets and approaches which can create potential obstacles to collaboration in an already time-pressured environment. Think about it, I mean that is the problem, there's a lot of pressure on. And of course, if you unleash the full potential of legal and non-legal talent, this is the collaboration, because you should rethink hiring and onboarding, collaborate across countries and cultures, elevate leadership skills and engineer work to make time for collaboration. These are the basic checklist points that she sets out, and they're worth repeating. The second point is with the business. So in-house lawyers need to join a business discussion early enough to integrate their knowledge and earn credibility for their commercial acumen as well as their legal expertise. Now you can see the sense there is come into the project early, you're in at the ground floor, and that means that you can obviously add a great deal more information to the debate and move things, to use the current expression, moving things forward. Not the best of phrases, but there we are. Also with this second, with the business itself, the aim is to create more innovation, strategic solutions by partnering with business leaders, proactively engaging with the board and C-suite to deliver value. And I think that is again very important, because at the back of everybody's mind is value for money. The third point is across functions, because again we're talking about collaboration here, trying to bridge silos. Now she likes the word silos, and it unfortunately has an agricultural piece of imagery for some, but it's bridging silos for cross-organisation collaboration, which can create turf battles. You always get this unless objectives, resources and credit are all clearly explicated up front, in other words explained right at the beginning, because you will get, oh that's my job, that's my area, my ground, and you will get that certainly in larger organisations. I have worked in big organisations and I'm well aware of the turf battle issue. And of course, obviously integration is an important factor with other departments. The example she gives, finance, R&D, HR and so forth, to create a more holistic solutions, these are her words, that capture opportunities, lower risk and improve the employee and customer experience. Again, these are words that are current words. I don't really like improve the employee and customer experience in that sense, because it's not really an experience in that sense, but it's basically how they're getting on and how the relationship is actually working. And then finally we've got what's called the externality. Despite the value that external collaboration can provide, the time and trust needed to find common goals can be in short supply. So the aim is to co-develop solutions to shape regulatory agendas and to inform public discourse. In other words, again, openness. Obviously the aim is to maximise value with outside counsel and other third-party legal providers. And I think that's the same basically with anybody who's working as a team. I mean, it's not quite the same for, as I indicated, for practitioners, as sole practitioners like myself, where very occasionally I might be involved with a team, depending on the actual case that we're dealing with. I do have one on the moment where effectively we are a team. But I mean, generally speaking, the whole aim is to maximise the value throughout. So you're getting value for money, but at the same time you are using all the other people's expertise as well. Because let's face it, none of us knows everything, and we do need to rely on other people. That's one of the great things about the legal profession, and that is, generally speaking, there is a lot of sharing of information. Now the title, as I've indicated, has been vetted by dozens of general counsel. This is the special report, and in-house lawyers. And we think that the report will benefit all members of in-house legal teams and those who work with them. That is, for example, the executives in the firm, heads of other corporate functions, recruiters and consultants, and so on, because it's got a wide application. Because partners and leaders in law firms, we think, will also gain from a deeper understanding of their clients' operations and aspirations. So it's a very big thank you to Heidi for what I thought was a really interesting special report. And of course, Globe are producing a large number of special reports at the moment at a very reasonable price, which are extremely useful management tools. So I'd like to thank Sian and Nicola at Globe very much for the work they're doing. And the publication date of this special report is dated the 30th of April 2020. Of course, I'm recording this in the summer, towards the end of the COVID pandemic period where we've all been in lockdown. Just opening it in the middle, you do have some useful blocked areas where this basically makes a fairly substantial statement, case studies and so forth, really trying to ram home the points that are being made throughout. Again, it's basically, I mean, one of the points raised there is strategy, and that actually, when you think about it, that is part of what these special reports are for. And I do suggest that firms should get these books and read them, because they don't take long to read. It's not just over 100 pages long. It's not a long book to read. It's basically a short report, and I think it will help, especially as we are now entering a very difficult period in the 2020s. So thank you very much to all concerned for an excellent new special report. Bye-bye.